Hello, everybody. This is Justin Feyereisen, and this is the Justin Feyereisen Radio Show. I checked out A Quiet Place, and boom, it blew my mind. I did my first Stardust app video talking about this is a bona fide masterpiece. What makes A Quiet Place great is that it's a modern representation of a silent film. This movie is all about silence, and there's these aliens and monsters that aren't really good at seeing, but they're very good at detecting sound, so you gotta be as quiet as possible. So this is a very intense movie, and there are people that showed up late, sat in the front row, in the first 10-ish minutes they were on their cell phones, and it was bugging the crap out of me. So I had to be that guy that I had to take time off from walk all the way from the back of the theater to the front of the theater and say, hey, can you please get off your cell phone? It's very distracting. And luckily they did. They stayed off for the entire movie, and I could get back and I could watch the movie. But please, if you're attending the theaters, stay off the cell phones. The blue screen is very distracting for people behind you, especially if you're in the front row. If you're in the back row and it's less people, still don't do it, but it's a little bit more acceptable. Stay off your phones if you're going to the movie. Why are you spending $10 to spend time on your phone? So, A Quiet Place is directed and starring by John Krasinski. He is most known for being Jim from The Office, and his real-life wife, Emily Blunt, plays his wife in the movie. And it's very interesting because it's about this alien invasion. It's about these creatures being here on Earth, but it doesn't start with the logical starting point with the alien invasion. We've seen this a lot in movies, but they've been here for 98 days, 97 days. It's been 3 months when this movie starts. So that instantly is like, what is going on? And that's one of the benefits of this movie. And like I said, because these aliens have such good hearing, they have to try to be quiet. And it's about this family it's these parents raising their children in this environment, and how do you keep them still? How do you keep them quiet so the aliens don't come and take them away? It reminded me a lot of a silent film because there are sign language that they're doing, and there's like 15, 20 lines of dialogue in the whole hour and a half movie. And this just reminded me what would have most likely be if sound was never invented on film. And in 2011, the best picture of the year was The Artist, which was a throwback to the 1920s silent era. And this was a very good film. But A Quiet Place takes modern day, and it's in color, and it's got an action adventure film, but it relies very little on sound. And this family has to adapt to this world where they have to be quiet. There's great details, which they're barefoot. He's spending his afternoons pouring down sand to get into town, so they're walking on sand instead of the leaves and the twigs. And this is a parent's worst nightmare, that you have this world and you have to keep your kids quiet or they will be taken away from the aliens. And like I said when I first saw this movie, like I said when I reviewed it on the Stardust app, this is a masterpiece. This is fantastic filmmaking. You have the emotion from a very emotional script, and you also have these characters and these actors. They have to act without this dialogue. And let me just check my notes for the name of the little girl, Millicent Simmonds. She is actually deaf, playing a deaf character, and she actually taught everybody in the movie sign language. And I'm like, this small detail, and it's just that character arc is amazing, and the whole character arc is amazing. And it's, what would you do in this situation? You get a cut, and I would be screaming, and I realize I can't do that, and you're crawling out in pain, but you have to suppress yourself and suppress those actions. And this is a very suspenseful film. John Krasinski takes a lot of Alfred Hitchcock or Steven Spielberg, but updating it on the formula and having it do all this with very little dialogue. It is a thriller more than a horror movie, in the vein of Psycho or Jaws or the first few minutes of Jurassic Park, where there is all this tension, and that is created by the lack of sounds, and we have to be super quiet or these aliens will come and get us. And the mystery of these aliens is early in the movie you just see a flash of it, and then you don't see the full reveal until later, much like a Jaws or a Jurassic World, where you hear about the danger before you ever see the danger, and when you see it, it's quick glimpses until the ending where you see the full-on monsters. And what they did to fight these monsters was very interesting, and it was very unexpected. This was a very unpredictable movie, and you could feel the tension, and you could feel that these characters are very developed even without this dialogue. And this is a masterpiece in every sense of the word. It's very emotional, it's very character driven, you have limited dialogue, and it is fantastic. This is a movie which I never heard of before this weekend, and then when I saw it, I'm like, wow. And then having this movie be successful at the box office, this opened #1 with over $50 million, and it was only made for $17 million. So in the first weekend, they already made their budget, plus marketing, and just having it out and having people respond the way they do. This is incredible. It's fantastic. Highly recommended. And I hope other studios realize that you don't need to spend $200 million to make a movie. You don't need to spend $300 million like what's rumored with Justice League and Solo, a Star Wars story. If you have a great script and you have great direction, you got great actors, you can make smaller films that will still be successful. And if they aren't successful, you're losing way less money. So A Quiet Place, highly recommend.